I'm Saul Goodman. Pow! I fight for you.
Hey guys, Kiwi here, warning of spoilers for Breaking Bad, El Camino, and Better Call Saul up to Season 6, Episode 5. In this video, I'll be breaking down and discussing Episode 605, giving it a full review and recap. Like the video if you end up enjoying it, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on Twitter for more Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad updates. If you really enjoy what I do here, maybe even consider checking out my Patreon, or give back to the channel by clicking on the Super Thanks button under the video. With that being said, let's jump into the breakdown. So real quick, I want to discuss the name of the episode, something I've sadly been neglecting in these reviews. The name of the episode is Black and Blue, which may be a reference to the Breaking Bad 207 episode that's titled the same thing, but in Spanish. And to be honest, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. Breaking Bad 207 is the episode before Saul appears in Breaking Bad. Not only that, but the name is also the name of Heisenberg's theme. Black and Blue could also just simply be referencing Jimmy's black eye that he gets from boxing Howard. Alright, let's get into the Jimmy and Kim side of the show. The episode starts for them with Kim jamming the apartment door shut with a chair, and Jimmy wakes up to see it, saying, "I thought it was just me." This is in regards to Jimmy's PTSD from the final few episodes of Season 5, them thinking that Kim is paranoid from those events too. Little does he know that Kim knows that Lalo is alive and may return at any moment to confront either of them. So it's been another episode, and Kim still hasn't told Jimmy that Lalo is still alive. Check out my 604 review for more of my opinions on Kim not telling Jimmy that Lalo is alive, as I don't really want to repeat myself here, but what I will say is that episode 605 definitely emphasizes her reasoning for not doing so. The fact that Jimmy says thank God he's dead just emphasizes the false relief that Jimmy feels about it, something that Kim doesn't want to shatter. So now it seems like Kim is trying to carry the burden herself of knowing that Lalo's still alive and could possibly come after them. It's a bit irresponsible though, because if it happens to Jimmy, he won't see it coming and he won't be prepared ahead of time. Also, funny little Easter egg, the clock beside Kim laying in bed has the time 3:17, which upside down reads lie, which is very symbolic of not only Kim lying to Jimmy about Lalo still being alive, but everything they're doing in regards to Howard. Next up is Kim meeting with Viola. At first I figured that Kim was talking to her former assistant because she wanted to hire her as her own personal assistant. In a way that could still be true in the future if or when Kim does set up that pro bono practice with multiple lawyers that she was talking about with Cliff. Setting up a full pro bono practice with multiple lawyers is what Kim wants to do with the Sandpiper money, and I could see Kim hiring Viola as a member for a new hypothetical team. In a way, I figured we'd see both Jimmy and Kim hire an assistant this episode, Jimmy with Francesca and Kim with Viola. Then I realized that Kim is probably just catching up with Viola in order to get close to her again due to her mentioning that she's working on the Sandpiper case. I assume that Kim probably already knew that, which is why she wanted to meet up with Viola in the first place, but she just asked leading questions in order for it to come out in conversation naturally as to not raise suspicions of her true intentions. I wonder if Kim will screw over Viola or throw her under the bus in some way, while potentially using her against the Sandpiper case, which would really hurt considering how much Viola is praising Kim and saying how much she looks up to her. She also gets info out of Viola in regards to who the mediator for the Sandpiper case will be, which we see Jimmy and Kim discuss later on that night, so we'll talk about that in just a moment. Now to Howard. So just when you think you've seen the last of Erin Brill, she returns when you least expect it. Here we see her doing a not so good job at convincing the elders to wait on settling on the Sandpiper case, and then Howard leaps into action to correct this. I've already done a full video on Cliff confronting Howard, which you should check out if you haven't yet. I will however elaborate on Cliff being so confused at Howard saying that he has a Jimmy McGill problem. Why is Cliff so confused when he knows that Jimmy is sleazy due to him purposely trying to make Cliff fire him in Season 2? That was over a year ago, and Cliff hasn't heard of Jimmy since, but unlike Cliff, Howard has been dealing with him every single season. There's the chicanery of it all in Season 3, the aftermath of Chuck's death in Season 4, Jimmy turning down his job offer to work in HHM in Season 5, along with Jimmy exploding in anger at him at the courthouse hallway after sending hookers to his lunch and ruining his car with bowling balls. Hell, I bet Howard never even told Cliff about how it was Jimmy who sent hookers to their lunch in Season 5 due to Howard thinking it was unnecessary info. So to Cliff, Howard implying that he has a Jimmy McGill problem is so random random to him, especially in the middle of a conversation of Cliff confronting Howard on thinking he has a drug and sex worker problem, something that on the surface level may initially seem that it has nothing to do with Jimmy. In the next episode, we'll see Cliff talking to Kim, so I think after pondering on what Howard said about Jimmy, Cliff will start to put two and two together, but in the moment during that scene in 605, it just seems to come out of the blue. And then we finally see Francesca return, which I've been waiting for since around season 5. This time she seems slightly more bitter, and a lot more unimpressed with Jimmy as Saul Goodman, and for good reason. Francesca's unimpressed with Saul's new job offer, considering the bland office space with nothing but a small table and a chair for her, along with a random toilet in the middle of the room. Francesca doesn't seem to like the idea of Jimmy being a criminal lawyer instead of working in elder law, and Francesca always liked Kim a lot more than Jimmy, so she's disappointed that she won't be working with her. I love the nuance in Francesca's bitterness during this scene, playing into her Breaking Bad persona more, and the whichever pays less, I mean more line is just hilarious. I knew Francesca would need to see some cold hard cash in order for Jimmy to convince her. The empty toilet in the middle of Saul's office was inspired by a real life event that Vince Gilligan once had. Apparently at some point in his past, he was with a friend checking out a rental property, and it had an unhooked used toilet in the middle of the place. Not only that, but apparently the tour guide showed them around, completely ignoring the fact that the toilet was even there. Now in regards to Jimmy versus Howard boxing each other, I have an entire separate video breaking down this entire scene, including Howard hiring a PI afterwards. Check out that video if you haven't yet, but I will say that I really enjoyed this boxing fight. I was along for the ride and I found it very entertaining. Some may think it's over the top, but it's really just Howard trying to level with Jimmy in a way that he'll understand. Howard tried reasonably speaking to Jimmy multiple times the past few seasons, and all it did was make Jimmy give him shit, so this is Howard trying to do something more unconventional. Also, we suspected Howard hire a PI against Jimmy and Kim, and it finally happened. About 3 episodes too late, but it's here now. I think that Jimmy and Kim predicted this, and they may use it to their advantage somehow. The PI might get himself and Howard into more danger than they initially expected due to possibly finding a cartel connection or butting in with Mike's guys. But again, I'm starting to repeat myself here, so go check out my video dedicated to this discussion for more of my thoughts and opinions on the matter. In regards to Jimmy and Kim returning home that night, I think it's funny how we see Jimmy trying to apply makeup when he should still be icing his eye. We've now seen Jesse, Walt, Mike, and Jimmy try to horribly cover black eyes with makeup in this universe. I also loved the Saul Goodman "I'd fight for you" line while they're in the bathroom, which is a reference to a few old Saul Goodman commercials where he makes boxing puns and says that he'll fight for his clients legally. Since we know that we'll see the camera crew again this season, I wonder if we'll see them create some of the iconic Breaking Bad Saul Goodman commercials. I love the scene where Jimmy's laying in bed with Kim, admitting he doesn't know why he fell for Howard's ploy. He knew what Howard was doing, but still gave in. Kim comforting him was great chemistry. Kim tries answering for him, but as much as Jimmy thinks about it, he just can't figure out a reason why he fought Howard. Kim finally answers for him, saying that it's because he knows what comes next. So is this a part of their plan for Howard to eventually be onto them? The thing is, Howard admits to Jimmy at the boxing ring that he knows everything was him, even saying that it almost seems like he wanted to be caught. I'm starting to believe this, considering that Jimmy and Kim talk about it back home and they aren't freaking out about it or thinking that their plans have been foiled. They're calm and collected and instead just moving on to the next part of their plans against him. I think they eventually predicted Howard would catch on to them and hire a PI to follow them, and that they're going to somehow use this to their advantage to misdirect Howard and his PI going forward, possibly making Howard look like a fool based on faulty intel that they're feeding him. Could we see them do another body double scheme in regards to the Sandpiper mediator? They mention his mustache, hoping that he won't shave it, implying that it'll make it easier to replicate his likeness. The thing is, we've already seen like 3 body doubles this season so far, Lalo faking his death, Gus with his safe house, and Jimmy as Howard. I'm worried the show creators are using this idea too much, similar to being worried that they'll use Ed the Disappear too much when after having already used him for Saul, Walt, and Jesse in Breaking Bad and El Camino. So to correct myself from my 605 cold open intro teaser breakdown, it's a slide rule, not a ruler, which is apparently some kind of old-fashioned calculator. But not only that, it's possibly the same tool that Werner used in season 4 when he got hired by Gus. As a fun side note Easter egg, the intro teaser was actually filmed in the same location as the boxing fight and at the same time. I like the intro teaser slow burn mystery, but it is a bit self-indulgent and I would have rather seen something else, such as Lalo going to Germany, where I figured out which pub Werner's wife would be at. Yeah, duh, Lalo got on a plane or two and flew to Germany, but how? Shouldn't he be on a no-fly list due to his Jorge de Guzman alias being busted with his true identity revealed in America? Did he just get away using this new Ben alias? Does the Mexican government not not care about that? Also, how did he bring a gun to Germany? Did he buy the gun in Germany, or did he sneak it in somehow? Does his power and influence as a cartel leader overrule all of that? Or does the cartel have private planes and landing strips for him to use? Maybe in Mexico, but in Germany too? Although I do like and appreciate the 605 cold open teaser, and the aha moment at the end of the episode does feel satisfying with Lalo lifting up the acrylic sealed slide rule. They've done the same mystery before multiple times this season, even just a few episodes ago with the blue flower and piece of glass in regards to Nacho. I just feel that the cold open time could have been used more productively, but that's just my opinion. I still appreciate the slow burn and the reveal at the end. Now in regards to Gus a los Pollos, I love that we see Lyle again. Ever since they made him play a larger role in season 5, it makes sense that they'd keep him around, but I'm just glad to see that he's still employed and doing well. I really do connect to smaller characters much more than other shows. When Gus starts zoning out at the customer, I half expected the customer to get mad at him, but we don't end up seeing that. Also, when Gus mentioned the Spice Girls, my buddy Phil mentioned how it sounded like Gus said Spice Girls, which just made me laugh, and that's all I can think of when I hear that now. And to be honest, after watching episode 605, I was craving some Los Pollos, so I went out and got a chicken sandwich because it was the closest thing I could get, sadly. Now, I'm not entirely sure why he marched outside, but it kinda gave me vibes similar to when Gus stood in front of the sniper in Breaking Bad, although this was obviously much less intense. There's a few times that we see Gus's OCD come into play in this episode, first with putting his pen perfectly on his Los Pollos desk, and then later at his safe house scrubbing the top of the bathtub with a toothbrush. This is definitely symbolic of his paranoia and anxiety caused by his uncertainty of Lalo, but it also reminds me of Lyle scrubbing those deep fryers in season 5. We all know how the story will end, we know Lalo is alive, and we know more than the characters. I've heard the creators discuss this issue where eventually it gets to a breaking point where they have to catch the characters up to speed with the audience and what we know, so hopefully I think we'll get that soon. It also seems like Gus is suspicious that Lalo may be somehow looking for the super lab, which is why he hides his ankle gun in the construction vehicle down where the super lab's being made. So we have a Gus versus Lalo confrontation down in the super lab cave. I said this in my cold open video, I believe, but imagine how messed up it'd be if Lalo dies down there and they build the super lab on top of his dead body, since concrete isn't poured for the floors or walls yet. Could take on a new meaning of putting up the south wall. Now Gus fiddled with the lights and counted his steps towards where he placed the gun because maybe he wants to shoot and kill Lalo in the dark. Now we've never seen Gus shoot anyone, or even pull the trigger to a gun. We've seen Gus kill someone, such as the box cutter scene in Breaking Bad, or Arturo in the beginning of Better Call Saul season 4 in front of Nacho, but Gus always kills with his hands, in a brutal fashion as an intimidation tactic. If Gus ever just needs someone shot and killed, that's what he has people like Mike and Tyrus for. So his plan against Lalo, is it really as simple as him shooting and killing him, or is there more to that Chekhov's gun that he placed down in the super lab location? So this episode also marks the return of Lalo, finally. Not only does he return, but we get a big reveal that he's been in Germany tracking down Werner's wife to get info on the super lab. I did an entire 20-minute video on Lalo in Germany, so check that out for a full breakdown, but I will elaborate on a few things. It's possible that Lalo figured out where Marguerite worked from her name, and then followed her to this pub. He could have been tracking her for days too, realizing that she's a regular there. Saw a comment thread in my video mentioning the fact that currently Gus just has a big hole in the ground that could be used for anything. If it gets discovered by the cartel, Gus could just say it's anything really, such as just extra storage for drugs or something. Although he is violating all sorts of regulations in regards to blasting and digging without permits, it's not like he has the lab set up yet. Although, if Lalo looks into who owns the laundromat, he may discover Magical and the connection Gus has to it. Let me know what you think in the comments, and check out my full video on Lalo in Germany for an entire breakdown on the Lalo side of the episode. I really enjoyed this episode a lot more than 604. I find the viewer reception funny for the past 2 episodes because I feel like a lot of people disliked 605 when I genuinely enjoyed it. It's funny because I think I dislike 604 the way that people dislike 605. 604 was just a slow burn setup episode, which is what people say about 605, but I disagree. I feel like 605 is as much of a payoff episode as it is a build-up episode. I was at the edge of my seat the whole time. The Cliff and Howard confrontation was satisfying, the show's been building up to it all season. Finally, Howard realizes who's messing with him, and he's willing to play ball. I loved the Hamlin vs. Goodman fight. It was great to finally see that from the trailers, as we've been waiting for it all season, and I never really knew if they were actually going to fight or not. Saul hiring Francesca was great. I'm glad to see her return finally, and I've been waiting for her return since sometime in season 5. Then there's the Lalo situation at the end, which had my heart racing. Lalo's return was awesome, and it made me really care for Werner's wife more than I already did, which is really impressive how the show creators made me feel that that way, considering this is the first time we ever saw her on screen. I'm giving this episode a strong A tier. The only gripe I had with it was the Gus Fring side of things, since it just kind of felt like a rehash and elaboration on what we already saw for him in episode 604. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd appreciate a like on the video if you've enjoyed anything I've said today, or if you're new to the channel or just haven't yet already, subscribe and hit that bell notification to stay updated on when I post new content on Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad. Check out my Patreon or give a super thanks to help support the channel financially. If you got a few spare bucks lying around, it'd mean a lot, and also thanks to those who have already. But most importantly, I thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.
Jimmy McGill.
You'll have to excuse me.
Part of the reason we set it up this way is so you can get some rest.